Amidst uncertainty if Chelsea will qualify for the Champions League by finishing in the top 5, the transfer stories roll on in the footballing media at large. What's poppin', people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. As always, I do hope you're doing well, mate. Really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Of course, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my thoughts and opinions on it. More importantly, asking for yours. Today, Florian Plettenberg, German journalist, broadcaster, talking about how Jamie Gittens has put in his transfer request to Borussia Dortmund, of course, heavily linked to Chelsea. We've looked at his X-value stats, but I do want to show you some comparison stuff with him because Chelsea have done a lot of work to sign Jamie Gittens already, of course, a right-footed, left-sided attacker, in potentially the absence of Mudryk and the non-usage of Jadon Sancho, who could indeed be Jamie Gittens' replacement at Dortmund. And of course, John Obi Mikel has been speaking about Victor Osimhen again, a striker who I'd like Chelsea to sign. Of course, I've been very, very transparent on I would like to sign Liam Delap. I think he's actually quite underrated and I think he'd make Chelsea better. And of course, this is all amidst not knowing if we're going to qualify for the Champions League next season. At time of recording on Tuesday, the 8th of April, we are in the top 4. Newcastle will have a game in hand. Should they win that, they will go above us, but they would still leave us in the top 5. So all the games being played, we could still be in the top 5 / possibly top 4. Excuse me. Still got that sniffles. I can't shake it. And it would still be in our hands in the sense of we still have to play Fulham, who are sort of kind of in the race for some sort of European football. Fulham, I mean, they're playing well. They just beat Liverpool. First team to beat Liverpool as a first team that Liverpool have been defeated by away. Oh my God, English! The first away game Liverpool have lost all season. There we go. We get there in the end. So we've got to play Fulham, but we've got to more notably play Forest and Newcastle, who of course both very much in the hunt for Champions League. So you win those. I think they're both away from home, but it's in Chelsea's hands ultimately. You know, you win those games, you probably finish in the top 4. But do you trust them, man? That's the situation. So we're going to talk a little bit about the transfers today, but a lot does hang in the balance, guys, because really and genuinely, like, being a Champions League club and not being a Champions League club is massive. You'd like to think, but nothing's a given, that minimum will be in the Europa League. Of course, we'd need to win the Conference League. Now, what really winds me up a little bit is you've got all these people outside of Chelsea, and I understand why they're saying it, and to a degree they're right, but, you know, it will be a travesty, an embarrassment if Chelsea don't win the Conference League. And true, like, I think it would be an embarrassment if we don't get to the final. But in the final, we could meet a Fiorentina. It's a good team. You know, you could lose to a good team in the final. You know, Betis, who have been in scintillating form in La Liga since their January transfers. I know everyone's saying since Anthony signed, and Anthony's really good there. But it's actually since January, since they reinforced. They did a bit of an Aston Villa. And they can beat Chelsea in a final. So, you know, like, this whole if you don't win, it's embarrassing. Yes, we're the massive favourites to win the competition. And yes, we're expected to. But I think there needs to be a little bit of, it's still a European final with a couple of form teams in there apart from Chelsea. So that really needs to be highlighted. Should we win, we get Europa League, which of course is a competition up from what we've been playing this season. But really, we've got the squad for Champions League. And it's certainly with the additions that we're looking to make, you know, it's a squad for Champions League. Like, I don't think like a 25, 26-year-old Victor Osimhen's looking to join Europa League. He's at that point now where he wants to play Champions League. A little quick reminder before we look at these stories to support me if you want to. I'd gently waft you in the direction of the subscribe button if you want to jump on and join the Football Therapy fun train. Thank you as always for your support, you know, liking the video as well. Let's get into it. Alright, mate. So, Plettenberg, correspondent from Sky, Germany, I believe. He says Gittens wants to leave Borussia Dortmund this summer. He's informed, the BVB, Borussia Dortmund have been informed that his desire to move and internally expect him to leave. Bayern are still looking at him. Bayern have got loads of good wide young attackers. He's also has a market in England, and a return to the Premier League appeals to him. Chelsea have done a lot of work on Jamie Gittens. First of all, we want to put a lot, in the words of Fabrizio Romano, spend important money on a striker and a wide attacker. And the winger, it will be a left-sided, right-foot winger. Jamie Gittens, of course, fits the bill. He's massively overperformed his expected goals this season, which is nice, because generally we have players who underperform their expected goals. I want to quickly show you Gittens. He's like 20, 21-year-old winger. Yeah, this isn't. I'm not looking at his full stats profile here. I just want to show you a graph on understats. So this is Gittens this season, as you can see here. His goals per 90 as a winger, a young winger, 0.43, which is very, very strong. So let's just pick a player. Let's just pick Sancho, because he will, Jadon Sancho playing as a left-sided, right-footed winger at Chelsea. And he'll probably replace Gittens if this merry-go-round happens, because if he can't stay at Chelsea, Sancho, he'll want to return to Borussia Dortmund. So here we go. As you can see, Sancho is more creative in terms of key passes, expected assists, and assists per 90. But in terms of expected goals and finishing chances and actually shooting, it ain't no comparison. It's all Gittens. Gittens will actually score goals. And in a system of Maresca, where yes, you want more out of your striker, but you need goals out of your wingers, this is massive for me. Like, you really, really need to be looking at stuff like this. Sancho deserves a bit of respect because he is quite creative. 1.8 key passes per 90 is actually pretty strong in a especially a misfiring team in the last few months. I think he's got a lot of stick, Sancho. Some rightly in terms of he's been underperforming, but some wrongly because he's sort of fallen victim to Chelsea underperforming as a whole. And then when that happens as a team, you want that your winger to do like an Eden Hazard or a Cole Palmer when he's in form and just spark some brilliance and change the game. Which, by the way, if you're Chelsea Football Club, you can. It's not mental to expect to have a player like that. Yeah, like when you're a big club, you're allowed to have amazing players that do that. So yeah, fine. But at the same time, Sancho, he's in certain scenarios he can express himself and look really good, but he's not like Eden Hazard or Bruno Fernandes at Man United, who can just break through the turgid sewage of football and just do something really, really important and good. And Cole Palmer at Chelsea when in form, and I think he's looked pretty good actually. Some of you guys may have seen Cole Palmer's still got incredibly strong stats across Europe for midfielders, like attacking midfielders. And of course his chances created still very, very high. Kind of takes you back to this. When you've got Cole Palmer creating an insane amount of chances and no one's scoring, just getting high-scoring wingers that, outperform XG and they're shooting, taking nearly 3 shots per 90 minutes. I'm actually here for it. Look, in terms of striker, we're about to talk about Victor Osimhen. Oh, if you said to me, like, Jan, pick a left winger, many people are going to think Nico Williams. Obviously very, very good. He's on insane wages, and I don't actually think he's scored loads of goals this season. I'm just actually going to bring him up as a compare. Yeah, here we go. For a bit of fun. Now, the blue graph is Nico Williams. As you can see, very well-rounded. And again, making a lot of key passes. But he's not, banging goals, Nico Williams. Scoring less than half than Gittens. And he's playing for, I was going to say Barcelona, but he's not. He was heavily linked to Barcelona. He's playing for Athletic Club, who, by the way, are in good form, by the way. Very well-rounded player. Superb, Nico Williams, but worth paying 250k a week? Or do you sign Gittens and pay him for less than half of that? And, he's a bit younger, develop Gittens, and I kind of the more I think about it, I like Jamie Gittens. A lot of people aren't really excited about him in the same way they're not really excited about Liam Delap because he's scored 12 goals for Ipswich. But I sort of try and look at it a bit more holistically and go, yeah, that's actually quite good. Like, would Nico Jackson, who I rate very highly, would he have scored 12 goals for Ipswich this season? I'm not sure. So therefore, it's an example of why I really like Liam Delap, and I like Jamie Gittens. If we signed him, there is this thing, right, where this idea maybe, because remember, Dortmund sold Sancho to Manchester United for £75 million. £75 million. If we buy Sancho off Man United for 25, do the obligation, maybe we can just basically give him straight to Dortmund as a part exchange value, which is always a little bit inflated than cash, as £30 million. So it's 5 million, but obviously when you do part exchange, it's like when you go to a store, you always basically, the cash, you always get less. So it's almost like if we can even just give ourselves the edge slightly by just going whoop, whoop, straight to them, and say, I don't know, I literally have no idea how much Gittens is going to cost. Buying one of them, let's just say it's 50 million, and then you end up giving 20 million cash for Jamie Gittens. Maybe. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Let's move on. Okay, so from the Gittens transfer request to a little bit more on Victor Osimhen, I'm going to read this off Cy Phillips's Chelsea News website. He's essentially citing what, yet again, Osimhen hype man John Obi Mikel has been talking about, who's obviously desperate to get his mate at Chelsea, his club, let's just read what Cy said here. One former Chelsea player has claimed that a world-class striker wants to join Chelsea this window. And of course, that is John Obi Mikel about Osimhen. We all know we were very frustrating again in that draw against Brentford. The manager, rightly criticised for his selection of his lineup, but by all accounts, it was a load management thing as well. So I did hear Liam Twomey on The Athletic speak about how actually he was, had we'd won that, he would have gone perfectly because he wanted to rest certain players there and whatever. It's not the worst result in the world, but it's bad, isn't it? But Mikel spoke on his latest John Obi-Wan podcast again, and he said this a few times, guys. Speaking about Osimhen, how he really wants to play for Chelsea, he said, listen, this is a quote, listen, it will be really sad if we don't get a player who supported us as a kid and wants to play for this club. Just going to pause there. Wesley Fofana, support Chelsea. I mean, also Marseille as well, is it? A little bit. But, Chelsea was his Premier League club support as a kid, pictured as a child. Jadon Sancho, boyhood Chelsea fan. Doesn't always mean it's going to work out for different reasons, but it's nice, right? It's nice because we know Osimhen, he's been pictured in Chelsea shirts. Was it at AFCON? Drogba was getting in his ear. John Obi Mikel was getting in his ear. Mikel goes on to say this. His idol is Didier Drogba. He will, and this is I quite like this, he will want to break records. I think he said possibly break Drogba's records. Win us trophies. Get us back at the top. Yeah, come for Drogba's records. I'm telling you, that would be his mission. I mean, how old is Osimhen? He's got to be 26 now, maybe? He's 26, turns 27 at the end of the year. So yeah, he's in the sweet spot of his career. If the club choose not to pursue it, then fair enough. Good luck to them. Because I think he also knows Osimhen. He's spoken to the sporting directors. When criticising the club sometimes, when he's asked about Paul Winstanley, he says, these are really clever guys. I don't know if he's trying to just protect his own relationship and in with the club, but I think he kind of says that sometimes, fair enough if they don't want to do it, because obviously there might literally just be a reason why the deal can't get done, or they think there's an alternative. So he says if they can't get it done, fair enough, good for them. But the good thing about it is we know where we left it. We can literally pick up the phone and go straight to the door. Yeah, he keeps saying this. He's essentially reiterating that We got very, very, very close in negotiations in the dying embers of the transfer window, and I believe that's true. And essentially, he's gone to Turkey, but he's done very, very well. Like, is he the top scorer? Turkish Super League top scorers. I'm quickly just gonna Google this now. I wonder if he is, because he scored a lot of goals for Galatasaray. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, currently top scorer. He's played 23 games. He's scored 20 goals. I mean, it's good. He's got 4 assists as well. Like, it's so that's 24 goal involvements in 21 starts. I mean, I know it's a big Turkish team in the Turkish Super League, but he's still, just banging goals. He's keeping his scoring foot warm. We've seen him do it in Serie A. Look, I've been very firm on this. I think he fits Chelsea. I think he just feels right. He feels a bit Chelsea icon-y. And in this, I know it's not up to the current hierarchy to just pander to the fans and break their own plan that they feel like will make Chelsea successful. But at the same time, just think of how much that would do to help the mood. Because he's, again, it's easy to paint him. You do an announcement video of him in a Chelsea shirt as a kid, talking about how Drogba's his idol. Pictures of him holding up the Scudetto, African Player of the Year awards, all this kind of stuff. Like his goal scoring record in Turkey. Like he's come to Real to show everyone what he's about for Chelsea. It would be a huge dopamine hit. Here we are again, relying on transfers for dopamine hits and positivity. But great. I mean, in an ideal world, Chelsea have had multiple strikers before. I'd sign both him and Liam Delap, but that's a little bit greedy. But my position remains the same. If we sign one of Šeško, Delap, or Oshimen, I will be like, right, we are better equipped to play better. We will be better. We will be better Chelsea. That's undisputable. I simply have a hierarchy. Osimhen, Delap, and then Šeško. Even though I think Šeško's got 10 league goals or something, which isn't awful. But yeah, that's how I feel. Let me know what you think. Please do leave your thoughts down in the comment section. Thank you as always for hanging out with me, liking and subscribing. And I hope to see you back here soon. I really do. Peace.